Welcome to the inaugural episode of our new podcast series, Forbeck on the Forefront. Each episode will do a deep dive into the important cancer research being funded in part through the efforts of the William Guy Forbeck Research Foundation. Our two hosts will break down our topics into uncomplicated bits that are easily digestible. Now sit back and relax as we give you a front seat into the progress and the promise of our efforts.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources and really unpack them, trying to uncover some surprising insights, help you be truly well-informed. Today, we're diving into something that, well, it touches almost everyone's life, cancer research.
Right. It's huge.
It is huge. It's a vast field, often pretty daunting. But you've brought us this really fascinating collection of sources about one particular organization. They seem to have a, let's say, remarkably unique approach to speeding up breakthroughs. It's the William Guy Forbeck Research Foundation.
That's the one.
So our mission today is to figure out how this foundation, especially now as they're marking their 40th anniversary, how they uniquely bring together these brilliant minds to fight cancer.
Okay.
What's their core strategy? How do they actually foster those absolutely critical moments of discovery? So let's unpack this. How does an organization even begin to accelerate something as massive and complex as finding a cure for cancer?
Well, what's really fascinating here, and you picked up on it, is that the Forbeck Foundation operates on a principle it's almost counterintuitive compared to your typical huge scientific conference.
Okay, how so?
Instead of, thousands of people, they champion intimacy, small groups, and unconstrained collaboration. It's all about pushing the boundaries of cancer research that way.
Intimacy. Interesting.
Yeah, deliberately breaking down those conventional barriers, the kind of things that often slow down scientific progress.
So cutting through the noise, basically, getting right to the core of the science. That does sound like a powerful differentiator. Tell us more about this model they use, the Forbeck Cancer Forums.
Absolutely. So the sources, they describe these forums as intimate gatherings of the leading researchers. That's the key phrase.
Right, intimate gatherings.
And the crucial part, like you said, is that they operate outside of conventional constraints and barriers. This isn't just some casual get-together.
Yeah, it sounds very intentional.
It is. It's a meticulously designed environment, really crafted specifically to foster collaborations that hasten cancer research.
Okay.
And, in the bigger picture of science, it's often these smaller settings where there's trust, that truly novel ideas pop up, where you get those interdisciplinary connections forged, kind of bypassing the formal presentations, and honestly, some of the competitive vibes you get at bigger meetings.
Ah, right. Less posturing, maybe.
Perhaps. It's where these leading thinkers can genuinely just come together in one room, exchange ideas, and be really results-driven.
So it's less about presenting what you have done and much more about collaboratively figuring out what you will do next. That's a pretty profound shift.
It really is.
And it's quite remarkable that they've been pioneering this for so long. 2025 is their 40th anniversary. That's a huge milestone.
40 years, yeah.
And they're celebrating in some interesting ways. I saw they kicked things off with their first ever State of the Forbeck Foundation webinar.
That's right, back in January 22nd.
Who was involved in that? I mean, who participated? Does that tell us something about the foundation's influence?
Oh, definitely. That webinar, moderated by their executive director, Jamie Collins, it really set a powerful tone.
Okay.
It brought together just an incredible lineup of leaders. We're talking the CEO of the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center.
Wow.
A principal investigator from St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. The founder of Curing Kids Cancer. And top researchers from Harvard Medical School, Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, and the Broad Institute of MIT and Harvard.
That is quite the list. A real powerhouse lineup.
Exactly. And the caliber of those participants, it really just underscores the deep respect and, frankly, the influence the Forbeck Foundation has built up over 4 decades.
Yeah, career.
It signals they're not just, looking back at their history, they're actively shaping the future of cancer research.
That makes sense. And the celebration isn't just online, right? They also have a big in-person event planned, the Ruby Gala. That name's Clever Ruby being the traditional gem for a 40th anniversary.
Nice touch, isn't it?
So what's the story with that event? What can people expect?
Well, it seems like they really understand the importance of engaging both the scientific community that's super high level,
Yeah.
but also celebrating with their wider network of supporters. You need both.
True.
So the Rock of the Ruby Gala, that's happening Saturday, October 4th. It's at the Lake Geneva Country Club, and it's alongside their signature Blue Jean Ball, which sounds fun.
Blue Jean Ball.
Yeah. And it's described as this unforgettable evening, honoring the whole 40 years of work. They're planning inspiring speakers, interactive stuff, heartfelt tributes.
Sounds like a proper celebration.
It really does.
Yeah.
And this blend, the deep scientific work combined with the community celebration, that feels critical for any foundation aiming for real long-term impact. It shows their whole approach to fighting cancer.
Yeah, a holistic approach, like you said. And speaking of that community side, a big part of their long-term impact, it seems, comes from getting the public directly involved, channeling that support into research.
Definitely.
How does the foundation actually do that? How do they foster this broader community involvement and, raise the funds they need?
What's really compelling is how they create all these different ways for people to contribute. It's not just about relying on huge grants.
Right. Grassroots, too.
Exactly. They're building this network of really invested supporters. So, for instance, this year, 2025, they've got their annual golf outing in June.
Okay, standard charity event fare, but fun.
Right. Fun, competition, giving back. Then there's the Como Crawl for Cancer in July that's in Como, Wisconsin.
Como Crawl!
Yeah, sounds lively. Described as a day of fun, drinks, live music, and community. And apparently, participants can crawl by boat, car, or even on foot. Supports cancer research the whole time.
That sounds memorable.
Doesn't it? Then in August, there's pickleball and mahjong in Lake Geneva, tapping into those trends.
Pickleball's everywhere now.
It really is. And then something more poignant in September, the Walk the Lake for Cure of Faith. It's hosted annually by the Spadoma family. A powerful way, the sources say, to remember strong warriors.
That sounds very meaningful.
Yeah. And people can walk, donate raffle items, sponsor, lots of ways to get involved. And earlier in the year, back in April, they even did a wine and food pairing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at the Bottle Shop in Lake Geneva. Just bringing people together around something enjoyable while still supporting the research. You see how each event, whether it's casual or more formal, it just reinforces that shared goal.
Yeah, accelerating progress. It makes a fight against cancer feel like a collective effort, not just something happening in labs far away.
Exactly right. Makes it accessible, engaging.
Which, of course, ultimately supports those cutting-edge Forbeck Forums we talked about earlier.
The scientific core.
The sources really emphasize these are breakthrough meetings, that they inspire the greatest minds in medical research.
That's the goal.
And looking at their 2025 calendar again, they've got some incredibly specific, really important sounding topics lined up for these forums.
That's very targeted.
For instance, September 11th, there's one in Dunboyne, Ireland, focusing on persistence, apoptosis, and minimal residual disease.
Key area.
And the same day, September 11th, but in Castello, Italy, another one on targeting cancer evolution.
Also critical.
Then later, September 25th, back in Lake Geneva, a scholar retreat. October 5th, same place. Nucleosome structure and function in cancer.
Deep science there.
October 16th, Smithville, Tennessee. Cell death in cancer therapy. And finally, October 19th in Aspen, Colorado. AI in cancer research and drug discovery.
Wow. Covering a lot of ground.
Seriously. And now, these topics sound incredibly specialized. For those of us listening, we follow the topic, but maybe aren't experts in these exact fields. Can you break down maybe one or two of these? Why are they so crucial right now?
Our Hipsonty.
Yeah. And maybe what unique advantage does that Forbeck Forum model offer here compared to a huge conference where researchers might just present findings without that deep, real-time problem solving?
Right. Good question. Well, this list of topics, it really shows you where the absolute cutting edge, the critical frontiers of cancer research are today.
Okay.
So take, for example, persistence, apoptosis, and minimal residual disease. That's all about the incredibly stubborn problem of why some cancer cells survive treatment.
The ones that hang around.
Exactly. How they evade natural cell deaths, that's apoptosis, and how even a tiny number of leftover cancer cells, what we call minimal residual disease, or MRD, can lead to relapse later on.
Which is devastating.
Absolutely. So research here is tackling why cancer comes back and how we can finally eradicate those last really stubborn cells. It's fundamental.
Makes sense. What about, say, targeting cancer evolution?
That one directly addresses how tumors adapt, how they change over time and become resistant to the drugs we use.
Like the cancer learns to fight back.
In a way, yes. So researchers need to think ahead of the disease itself. anticipate how it might evolve, and find ways to target that process.
Fascinating and incredibly complex.
It is. And then something like nucleosome structure and function in cancer that goes right down to how our DNA is packaged inside our cells.
Okay.
That packaging, the nucleosome structure, affects which genes get turned on or off. And cancer can actually hijack these mechanisms for its own growth. So understanding that is vital.
Wow. And AI, artificial intelligence, that one seems huge too.
Oh, absolutely. AI in cancer research and drug discovery that's exploding right now. AI is rapidly changing how we analyze these enormous data sets we get from genomics, imaging, clinical trials.
Finding patterns humans might miss.
Precisely. And discovering potential new drugs or therapies much faster than before. It's a complete game changer potentially.
So how does the forum model help with these really tough specific areas?
Well, this is where that intimacy really shines. By bringing together the absolute top minds focused on these very specific, high-impact subjects, these forums fill a critical gap in the fight against cancer. That's what the sources say.
A critical gap.
Yes. They offer this unparalleled opportunity to share, interact, synergize, and collaborate. It's that interaction, that synergy that's different.
Not just listening to talk.
Not just listening. It's about advancing the next generation of breakthrough oncology research. By creating an environment where the most pressing questions can be tackled by, essentially, a collective brain trust. People sparking ideas off each other in real time without the usual pressures or scale of a giant conference.
Real-time problem solving.
Exactly. That's the core value.
Okay, so wrapping this up. What does this all mean for you, our listener? When we look at the William Guy Forbeck Research Foundation, what we're seeing is, well, it's a truly unique model in action, isn't it?
It really seems to be.
They're not just, writing checks for research. They're actively curating the environment for the most impactful scientific collaborations.
Creating the space.
While at the same time, engaging this broad community to support that work. It's like a powerful two-pronged approach.
That's a great way to put it. And understanding this model, it gives you, the listener, a deeper insight into just how varied and strategic the efforts behind cancer research really are.
Yeah, it's not monolithic.
Not at all. It's not always about the big, flashy headlines you might read. Sometimes, maybe often, it's about these focused, intimate gatherings of brilliant minds that truly accelerate breakthroughs, because they allow scientists to really engage in that real-time problem solving, not just sharing information that's already polished.
That makes a lot of sense. So here's a final thought for you to maybe mull over as you go about your day.
Okay.
Consider how critical these focused collaborative environments really are. Not just for cancer research, obviously, but maybe for tackling any complex global challenge we face.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah, imagine what more could be achieved across different fields. Climate change, poverty, you name it, if we consistently fostered this kind of intimate interaction. Really focused on accelerating progress beyond what maybe the traditional larger forums can achieve on their own. Something to think about.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you agree that the research we're funding is critical and we're making real progress toward finding a cure for cancer. Please join us in our mission. Click the donate button at the bottom of this page and give what you can. We promise your generous donation will go directly to funding this life-saving research. Together, we can bring an end to cancer.